You know what, I'm bored. Let me take you back to the past, where the Iraq War really sucked ass. Yes, I'm talking about the 2000s, a somewhat fun time for cartoons. You know, you got all these man-children sucking the dick that was the 90s animation boom, some rightfully so in some places, but the 2000s where the entire animation landscape was hit with this black plague called Canada, had a lot of great animated shows at the start of it. With a bunch of well-known creators we know today, we're still in their cartoon pampers. The biggest network that really hit its stride at the start of the 2000s was Cartoon Network. They existed in the mid to late 90s but exploded at this time, with many popular shows that make up this network's history. One of those shows from this time I'm going to be talking about is The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Alongside me is friend of the show and fellow podcast member Glem808.
Hey there folks, now let's talk about one of the more fucked up cartoons of our childhood. Now, Billy and Mandy was created by one Maxwell Adams. He previously worked on shows like Cow and Chicken as a storyboard artist and writer.
It was also produced by some cuck as well. Literally.
The footage for the short was lost for over a decade until finally Adams was able to premiere it at the Troma Animation Film Festival in New York, which I almost witnessed. I took a bus all the way to New York, I went on a subway to Brooklyn, somehow managing not to get stabbed, and then I was rejected at the bar where the film festival was taking place, even though the flyer said all ages. But at least I didn't get stabbed. The short itself was fine, a bit simple. The only thing that really carried over from the short was the title characters Billy and Mandy, but the supernatural elements like the Grim Reaper or monsters didn't appear yet. Also, Billy and Mandy look like they're from a cutscene from a Fallout game. The creation of Billy and Mandy is very similar to Kids Next Door. Both shows are the result of online polls put up by Cartoon Network.
The winners of this contest were Grim and Evil and Whatever Happened to Robot Jones. Whatever did happen to him indeed. It's like the center of a Tootsie Pop.
The world may never know.
Because the show had to carry its dead conjoined twin that was Evil Concarne, a show about a man dying and having both his brain and his stomach attached to a bear in an attempt to try to rule the world, no one really gave a shit about Evil Concarne. Not a bad show by any means, it's enjoyable. Like, it has good qualities to it, like the art. It's about, if not on par with Billy and Mandy's. It's just that putting them together really kind of was squandering the potential Billy and Mandy had by pairing them together. And the executives realized this and split them up into two shows, where one was super popular and the other one was just kind of like, eh.
Concarne is not all dead though. Characters from the show get their own little cameos from time to time, and even the character General Scar becomes a cool side character.
Evil Concarne concluded after 14 episodes while Billy and Mandy prevailed for 7 full seasons. Here's an interesting fact about Evil Concarne. The show ended in like 2004. So it came to a surprise to me when I was looking up research about this show. It says that its finale was 2007. Why? Oh, it's because Cartoon Network aired the finale of the show unannounced in 2007.
Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Where's Dan?
The show holds up very well, having a lot of surreal and dark humor. There's surprisingly a lot of death and adult jokes in the show. And paying homage to old horror films and its funny portrayal of Lovecraftian and mythical monsters, the show has just a little bit for everyone. The characters exist in this universe where basically anything can happen, so the show can have these really weird and funny scenarios for episodes.
The show also has a great culmination of interesting characters, like the main cast. Billy, voiced by Richard Stephen Horvitz, is a dim-witted idiot who usually a lot of the time is the reason for most of the conflict in the show. His scatterbrained antics and way of thinking is just interesting, and provides a great amount of absurd comedy to the show.
Mandy, voiced by Grey Delisle, is Billy's pessimistic straight man. Her bad attitude combined with her wit allows her to manipulate almost anyone. She's basically evil incarnate, doing anything she can to get her way, and will ruin anyone's day who crosses her.
And Greg Eagles plays Grim, the personification of death turned into a house toy for children. Depressing. Grim is a really fun character with many interesting things about him. Like all the supernatural bullshit that he can pull out of his ass and all the little insight we get about his past before he became the Grim Reaper is actually pretty fascinating as well. Grim actually goes through a little bit of development in the series. At the start he hates the children so much that he contemplates why not just murdering them. I mean, it'd be pretty easy. I mean, now you think about it, what the fuck is Billy and Mandy gonna do against the Grim fucking Reaper? But as the show goes on, he learns to accept his role and play along and grow more accustomed to his situation. Development, I think, is for the better. If we were stuck with Season 1 Grim throughout the entirety of the show, I honestly enjoy it less. Season 1 Grim is fine, but I think the change in personality later on is much better. It's like what I deem the reverse Stewie Griffin effect, where more people liked the earlier version of the character and hated the later Season 1 down the road.
The side characters of the show also have have really fun personalities.
Like probably my favorite character in the entire show, Dracula. He's just an absurd portrayal of Dracula, and he's just really old and ignorantly black. All the episodes featuring Dracula are classic. I also love the ad campaign where they had Dracula as a Muppet for Billy's birthday. Those are good.
Alright, that's plenty of that. Tune in all this week for a bunch of new cartoon shorties called Billy's Birthday, starring, Billy. Following each shorty, stick around for some spooky Halloween-y type shows like Casper, Scary Godmother, and Scooby-Doo. Oh, me baby.
One of my favorites would have to be Hostile Gato. He's literally just Snake Plissken from the Escape from New York movies. He's a cool monster hunter, and every single interaction with him in the show is just a delight.
Yes! Mommy?
Mommy? You're not pretending I'm dead again because you're 48 and still live with your mommy, are you?
No, Mommy.
Okay, you play nice now.
Yes, Mommy.
These characters like Haas, Jeff the Spider, and Fred Burger just became so popular to the point where they actually had their own Halloween special dedicated to them, called Underfist.
It's a pretty good Halloween special that had plans to become to an actual series, but the timing at the time was just not the best. You see, Underfist came at a time where new management came in, and we're not very interested in making any more shows involving some of these older properties. You can see the validity in this statement being that the network afterwards went forward with their highly regarded Seeing Real campaign where they prioritized live-action TV shows over animation. Also, alum creators leaving Cartoon Network for other companies like Nickelodeon and Disney kinda proved this to me most likely true. Still a really good special, even though the change in some of the designs from the original show threw me off a little bit. It's funny, and it looks really nice.
The show also had other specials like a crossover with The Kids Next Door and 2 other television movies, Big Boogie Adventure and The Wrath of the Spider Queen.
Anyways, all of them are really enjoyable specials that keep the spirit of the original show intact.
The art of Billy and Mandy is also very well done. The show has a really appealing art style. And the animation is great too, which really helps the slapstick comedy.
Also, I like how the show kinda improves on certain designs of the characters. Like take Jeff for example. Season 3 Jeff kinda looks like shit. Later season Jeff, pretty good. Also the backgrounds are really nice looking as well.
The show also had its own video game, which I remember playing on the PlayStation 2. It was basically a clone of the game Power Stone on the Dreamcast, but nonetheless was a serviceable licensed game.
The chickens were red herring, Mom, and we still need to find out who stole my mojo.
I know who stole my mojo.
Since this is the part of the review where I inform you of a bunch of superfluous information and have no way to smoothly transition into this, remember this thing? Remember Buenos Dias, Mandy? I might be the founder of this meme. There's a strong possibility that my claims are false. My claims can be
Stunningly full of shit.
or I am just straight up wrong. But if we are going off the Know Your Meme website, I think I might have been the first person to post the meme of Buenos Dias Mandy. You see, one night going through my normal routine of jerking it and watching ISIS videos, I'm on e-hentai, my dude. The same website the Know Your Meme has listed the source of the comic. I'm browsing and then I see a comic of Billy and Mandy. You may be asking, Mars, why are you clicking on Billy and Mandy porn? Dude, I look up so much gay shit on Google and porn sites that it's like, it isn't unnatural for me to click on some fucking random thing. Like I look like, oh, you think like fucking there's some freaks out there? I look up fucking like the most stupidest shit on the internet and just type hentai or porn after it. Oh, the Wiggles? Oh, let's look up the fucking Wiggles hentai, dude. So I click on this, and I see how fucking terrible the art of this comic is, and I start laughing for what I remember 5 minutes at Billy's hands getting crushed by an oncoming car. 1. I see this and I save the image and just randomly post this to Twitter. Cause look at this fucking stupid thing. Now a couple of things. The comic dates back to 2016. The comic is relatively old. The earliest listing of this meme being posted on Twitter dates back to January 18th, 2017. I'm sure I posted this to Twitter under my old handle Curtis Black before it was MarsReviews earlier than this. You may be asking what is Curtis Black and why was your name Curtis Black instead of MarsReviews? Curtis Black was the name for my character in basketball, video games, and other games that allowed me to create custom characters. He was a giant scrawny black guy with an afro with a heart of gold. Twitter being a shitty website won't allow me to go back but so much, so I cannot get 100% confirmation on this. So I can't definitively say that I am the founder of this meme, but I believe it in my heart that I am.
At least he's honest. At least he's honest about being full of shit.
Okay, possible meme creation aside, Billy and Mandy still remains a classic Cartoon Network show and holds up to this day. And hopefully creator Maxwell Adams' next project, Dead Meat, is just as good. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for watching, and thank you to Glem for your help on this video. If you want to help what I do, please consider my Patreon, where $1 can win you a review of your own. I do patron-funded reviews every odd number month for $1 only. Also, if you want to see some other content, check out the Half and Half podcast I do with Glem, where we talk about movies, cartoons, and just kind of bullshit. I like doing it. There's a playlist on screen somewhere. Next video will be selected by a Patreon user, so if you want to be a part of January's, might as well pledge and just leave your suggestion. I've been MarsReviews, and happy Halloween.